Kill me now, she begged. The rancher aimed his gun, but what he saw made him drop to his knees. The twin suns of Solaris Ranch hung low over the dusty plains, casting long amber shadows that stretched across the desert. The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of dry grass and the faint tang of distant minerals from the rocky canyons. Cole Thorne, the rancher, rode slowly along the fence line, checking on his robotic herders as they guided the alien-adapted livestock across the dunes. He was a man of few words, tall and sturdy, with a weathered face that had seen more sunsets than he could count. Life on Solaris Ranch was never easy, but it had a rhythm, a quiet order that Cole liked. That order, however, was about to be broken. A sudden cry shattered the calm. It was faint at first, like a whisper carried by the wind, but then it grew louder, sharper, urgent. Cole froze in his saddle, straining to listen. The sound came from the direction of the canyon, a place he avoided for most of his daily rounds. Legends said the canyon held strange energies, mysterious phenomena that had puzzled the early settlers. But Cole wasn't one for legends. He trusted his eyes and ears, and right now both told him someone was in trouble. He kicked his horse into a trot, moving toward the canyon. The sun dipped lower, and the shadows grew longer, painting the rocks in dark oranges and purples. As he drew closer, he saw a figure stumbling along the rocky path, her movements frantic and uneven. Her clothes were dusty and torn, her hair tangled and blown across her face by the wind. She ran until she almost fell to her knees, then rose again, her voice breaking as she cried, "Kill me now!" The words were shocking, impossible to ignore. He instinctively reached for his plasma blaster, gripping it tightly, eyes narrowing. His mind raced. Who was she? Was she in danger, or was she a threat? Every instinct told him to be cautious. He called out from a safe distance, "Wait! Stop where you are!" The woman froze, her eyes wide and wild. Her chest heaved as she tried to catch her breath, but her hands trembled in front of her, pointing behind her as if signaling a danger Cole couldn't yet see. It's coming. It's inside me," she gasped, her voice quivering. Cole's grip on the blaster loosened slightly. The words didn't make sense. What did she mean, inside me? He took another step closer, his eyes scanning the canyon behind her. At first, he saw nothing but rocks and the faint glow of the evening sun. Then something strange caught his eye, a subtle distortion in the air, like a ripple, faint and shimmering. It pulsed with a soft, bluish light bending around the edges of her body. Cole's knees buckled slightly as awe replaced caution. He dropped the weapon, not out of fear, but because what he was seeing defied explanation. The light seemed alive, responding to her movements, her emotions. It curled around her like a living aura, shifting colors from pale blue to deep violet. For a moment, Cole felt like he had stepped into a dream, a world where the rules he had known no longer applied. He moved closer, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," he said gently. "My name is Cole. What's happening? What's inside you?" The woman, still trembling, lowered her hands slightly. Her eyes, a striking shade of green, filled with tears. I'm Lyra," she said. "I'm a scientist. I was studying the energy here in the canyon, but something went wrong. It bonded with me, and I can't control it. I was afraid it would hurt someone, or me." Cole nodded slowly, keeping his distance, but stepping closer as the glow shifted in response to his calm voice. "Bonded with you? Like it's alive?" "Yes, it's intelligent. I can feel it, thinking, learning, even reacting to my emotions. When I panicked, it reacted. I thought it might hurt someone. That's why I asked you to." Her voice trailed off, fear still evident in her tone. Cole crouched beside her, looking at the small device on her arm. A faint, pulsating glow emanated from it, small but mesmerizing. "This device, it's connected to the energy?" Lyra nodded again, holding out her arm. The device shifted slightly, responding to her gentle touch, colors flowing in patterns that were almost hypnotic. "It's not harmful," Cole said softly, awe and curiosity replacing any lingering fear. "But it's extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it." For a few moments, they just watched the light together, the quiet hum of the energy blending with the soft rustle of the desert wind. The robotic herders nearby, sensing something unusual, moved closer, their metal bodies clinking softly. They circled Lyra cautiously, their sensors scanning the energy. To Cole's surprise, the devices seemed unafraid, even fascinated. "This energy, it's responding to me," Lyra whispered. She touched her chest lightly, then extended her hand. The glow expanded, forming small holographic images in the air, distant worlds, swirling galaxies, ecosystems she had only seen in data. It was beautiful, overwhelming, and alive. Cole couldn't tear his eyes away. You've bonded with something extraordinary, he said, his voice low, almost reverent. This isn't something you need to fear. Maybe it's trying to communicate with you. Lyra's lips trembled as she smiled faintly for the first time since she arrived. I think you're right. I was scared, but maybe it's not a curse. Maybe it's something more. Cole stood and offered her his hand. Come with me. We can figure this out together. The ranch is close by, and it's safe. You don't have to face this alone. Lyra hesitated, glancing at the canyon behind her one last time. The glow pulsed softly, almost reassuringly. She took Cole's hand, feeling a mixture of relief and wonder. As they walked back toward Solaris Ranch, the suns dipped below the horizon, casting the desert in shades of deep purple and orange. For Cole, the quiet plains he had known all his life suddenly seemed alive with possibilities, mysteries waiting to be discovered. By the time they reached the ranch, the stars were beginning to twinkle in the darkening sky. The robotic herders guided the livestock to their pens, oblivious to the extraordinary events they had just witnessed. Cole led Lyra into the main house, a sturdy structure built from the planet's native materials, with wide windows that framed the desert view. Sit down, he said, offering her a glass of water. She took it with trembling hands, watching the glow on her arm pulse gently. I'll do everything I can to help you understand this energy, Cole said. But first you need to tell me everything from the beginning. Every detail. And so Lyra began her story, her voice quiet but steady as she explained the research colony, the experiment in the canyon, and the moment the energy bonded with her. Cole listened carefully, piecing together the fragments of her tale. The more he learned, the more he realized the canyon was not just a strange place. It was a doorway to something new, something humans had never seen before. By the time she finished, the stars were bright above, the twin moons rising over the horizon. Cole felt a deep sense of awe, but also responsibility. The ranch was no longer just a home for livestock and settlers. It had become a sanctuary for a living, thinking force that could change their understanding of the universe. I won't let anything happen to you, Cole said firmly. We'll figure this out. Together. Lyra nodded, the tension in her shoulders easing for the first time. She realized that for the first time since the bonding, she was not alone. The energy pulsed gently in response, almost as if it understood, and somewhere deep inside Cole felt a strange certainty. Solaris Ranch would never be the same again, and neither would he. The night grew quiet, filled with the hum of alien energy, the soft rustle of robotic herders, and the distant calls of creatures unseen. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, full of mysteries and wonders waiting to be explored. Inside, a new alliance had formed. A rancher, a scientist, and a living force that defied understanding. Together, they would face the unknown, guided by curiosity, courage, and a bond that promised hope in a world that had always been harsh, yet full of possibilities. Cole knew one thing for certain. Life on Solaris Ranch had changed forever, and the adventure had only just begun. The night at Solaris Ranch was quiet, but not silent. The hum of the alien energy pulsed softly from Lyra's arm, filling the room with a gentle glow. Cole sat across from her at the wooden table, sipping water and studying her closely. Lyra's hands rested on the table, and her eyes, once wide with fear, now held curiosity and wonder. You said this energy, it reacts to your feelings, Cole said carefully, breaking the silence. How exactly? Lyra nodded, her fingers tracing the pulsating device. It's hard to explain. When I'm scared, it flares up uncontrollably. When I'm calm, it responds softly, like it's listening. And sometimes it shows me things. Not always pictures, but feelings, memories, even thoughts. She paused, her gaze drifting to the ceiling, where the light seemed to flicker in rhythm with the energy. It's almost like it's alive, like it understands me, but I don't know why it chose me. Cole leaned back, resting his arms on the table. Maybe it didn't choose you. Maybe it chose this place, the canyon, this ranch. His voice was quiet but firm. I've seen strange things on this planet before, things people don't understand. Maybe it's just waiting for the right person to help it. I hope you're right. I don't want to be a danger. I felt like if I didn't ask someone to stop me, it might grow too strong or hurt someone accidentally. I didn't know what to do. Cole nodded slowly. You were scared. That's natural, but fear doesn't make you weak. It just shows that you care about what happens next. For a few moments, the two of them sat quietly, listening to the soft hum of the energy. Outside, the desert wind whispered through the tall grasses, and the robotic herders moved carefully along the pens, their sensors scanning the surroundings. Cole realized that the ranch, normally a place of routine, now felt alive in a completely different way. Something extraordinary had entered his world, and he wasn't sure if he was ready, but he was determined to help. The next morning, Cole led Lyra to the outskirts of the ranch near the canyon where she had first encountered the energy. The sunlight glinted off the rocky walls, and dust motes danced in the warm rays. Lyra held her arm carefully, watching the pulsating light as it shifted in response to the desert breeze. Let's see what it can do, Cole said cautiously. If we understand it better, maybe we can find a way to keep it safe, and keep you safe too. Lyra nodded and took a deep breath. She extended her hand, focusing on the energy in her arm. The glow expanded slowly, forming a thin, transparent ribbon that floated into the air. The ribbon swirled and twisted, almost like a stream of water in the wind, reflecting the sunlight and casting tiny rainbows on the rocks. Cole's jaw dropped. It's beautiful, he whispered. Lyra smiled faintly, the first real smile since she had arrived. It's responding to my calmness. Watch. She moved her hands in gentle arcs, and the ribbon of light followed, tracing patterns in the air. Small flowers sprouted along the canyon floor, glowing faintly in colors that were impossible to describe. They swayed as if in a breeze that didn't exist, petals opening and closing in slow, perfect rhythm. Cole knelt down, inspecting the flowers carefully. They're real? He asked, his voice full of wonder. Lyra nodded. They are, but they won't last long. The energy only amplifies things temporarily. It shows potential. What could happen if life and this energy were balanced? They spent the morning experimenting, cautiously exploring the limits of the energy. Lyra discovered she could lift small rocks, move the robotic herders slightly without touching them, and even guide the growth of desert plants that usually took months to bloom. The energy was responsive, intelligent, and incredibly sensitive. By midday, Cole and Lyra were tired but exhilarated. Cole wiped his brow and leaned against a rock. You've done more in a few hours than most people could in a lifetime, he smiled. I can see why it bonded with you. It likes people who care. Lyra laughed softly, a sound that seemed to mingle with the energy around her. I hope so. I want to help. Not 'cause problems. I don't even know where to start. You start by trusting yourself, Cole said, and trusting me. We'll figure this out together. Solaris Ranch has always been a place where people survive. Now it's a place where something incredible can grow, and we'll make sure it does. That evening, while the twin moons rose over the desert, they noticed something unusual. The energy responded to the night sky in ways neither of them had seen before. Tiny constellations appeared in the glow, forming shapes that resembled animals, landscapes, and even people. It was as if the energy was communicating, showing them visions of other worlds, other possibilities. Lyra gasped softly. It's trying to tell us something. I think it wants to show us more than just this planet. Cole's eyes widened. You mean it can travel? Or at least show us things far beyond here? She nodded, feeling the energy pulse stronger in response to her excitement. Not physically, but mentally. I can sense thoughts, feelings, places it has seen or wants us to see. It's like a bridge to understanding other worlds. They spent the rest of the night observing the patterns, recording what they could. The energy projected intricate maps, swirling colors, and floating symbols that neither of them fully understood. But Cole felt a deep sense of connection, realizing that Solaris Ranch was no longer just a home. It was a gateway to possibilities they could only begin to imagine. As days passed, they learned more about the energy's reactions. It thrived on calmness and curiosity, but it shrank or flickered when exposed to anger, fear, or uncertainty. Lyra's initial panic had been the perfect storm, but now, with Cole's guidance and reassurance, she could control it more easily. The bond between her and the energy grew stronger, as did the bond between Lyra and Cole. One morning while practicing near the canyon, Lyra experimented with moving the robotic herders. She focused on a small group of animals, lifting them slightly and guiding them gently toward the pens. The energy responded flawlessly, creating a soft protective barrier around the animals. Cole watched in amazement. "You've turned your fear into something beautiful," he said. "You've learned to guide it instead of letting it guide you." Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "I think it's teaching me too. Not just about itself, but about me, about what I'm capable of when I trust myself." Their work was interrupted by a sudden shift in the desert air. A faint hum, different from the energy's usual pulse, came from the canyon. Cole tensed, ready to react, but Lyra held up a hand. The energy responded, glowing brighter and forming a protective dome around them. Inside the dome, the desert seemed calm, unaffected by the strange hum. "It's sensing something," Lyra whispered. "Not dangerous, but curious. It wants to explore. I think it knows we're learning too slowly. Then we'll let it guide us, but carefully." We're in uncharted territory now. For the rest of the day, they explored the edges of the canyon together. The energy responded to their movements, amplifying their gestures and thoughts in subtle, beautiful ways. Flowers bloomed in their path, rocks floated slightly before settling, and tiny holographic images appeared, showing them glimpses of the world as it could be. Cole realized that Solaris Ranch was no longer just a survival outpost. It had become a living classroom, teaching them patience, curiosity, and the beauty of collaboration between humans and something beyond human understanding. By evening, they returned to the ranch, tired but exhilarated. Lyra's smile was genuine now, her fear replaced by wonder and determination. Cole knew that the days ahead would bring challenges. They would need to learn more, explore carefully, and perhaps face people who didn't understand the energy. But for the first time, he felt certain that they could handle it. As the twin moons rose, casting silver light across the desert, the energy pulsed gently from Lyra's arm. It was no longer a source of fear, but a companion, a teacher and a friend. Cole watched her carefully, realizing that their partnership was more than just survival. It was a chance to change everything they thought they knew about Solaris Ranch, and perhaps even the universe itself. And somewhere in the canyon the hum continued, a reminder that the unknown was still out there waiting. But now they were ready, not with fear, but with curiosity, courage, and a growing sense of wonder. The sun rose slowly over Solaris Ranch, painting the desert in shades of gold and pink. The air was warm, carrying the faint scent of sand and desert flowers that had blossomed overnight. Cole Thorne walked along the edge of the ranch, checking the fences and the robotic herders, while Lyra followed closely, her eyes bright with excitement. The energy pulsed softly from her arm, casting tiny, colorful lights across the ground, almost like fireflies dancing in the morning sun. "Have you noticed anything unusual lately?" Cole asked, adjusting his hat against the sun. Lyra shook her head. "No, except that it seems to react more when we're curious or exploring. It's like it wants us to learn, not just observe." Cole nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Then we'll keep teaching it. And learning ourselves." They spent the morning experimenting with the energy near the canyon. Lyra focused on small rocks, lifting them gently and moving them to form intricate patterns. The energy responded instantly, glowing brighter with each careful motion. Flowers sprouted along the rocks, petals opening in vibrant colors, and the robotic herders moved cautiously, observing the display without interfering. Cole watched silently, impressed by Lyra's calm focus and the energy's responsiveness. Suddenly, a faint hum reached their ears, different from the energy's usual pulse. Lyra stopped and frowned. "That's not the energy," she said. Her eyes scanned the desert horizon. In the distance, a small group of hovercrafts appeared, moving toward the ranch in a straight line. They weren't like the vehicles used by the settlers. They were sleek, metallic, and clearly designed for speed. "Visitors?" he muttered, tension creeping into his voice. He tightened his grip on the strap of his satchel, feeling a protective instinct rising. "Looks like trouble, but we'll handle it." The hovercrafts landed at the edge of the ranch, sending up small clouds of dust. From them emerged people in uniforms with badges that gleamed in the sunlight. They carried scanners and small devices, moving carefully but confidently across the plain. Cole and Lyra watched from a distance, unsure of their intentions. "Searching for something," Lyra whispered, her hand instinctively brushing the energy device on her arm. The glow responded, brightening slightly, as if warning them. Cole nodded. "We need to keep it hidden. It's too valuable and too sensitive to be exposed to strangers." They quickly devised a plan. Lyra would use the energy to create a camouflage field around the ranch, a subtle mirage that would make it appear empty from afar. Cole would guide the robotic herders to move strategically, drawing attention away from the main buildings. They worked quickly, and soon the ranch seemed to vanish under a soft, shimmering light. Rocks and dust reflected the sunlight in ways that distorted the landscape, hiding the ranch from the intruders. The uniformed agents wandered closer, scanning the area with their devices. They frowned, puzzled by the empty-looking terrain. One of them tapped a scanner against the sand. "There's something here, but I can't detect it," they muttered. Cole and Lyra watched from behind a large rock, holding their breath. The energy pulsed gently, almost like it understood the danger and was doing its part to help. Lyra whispered, "It's working! They can't see us!" The agents moved slowly, looking frustrated. They tried different tools, scanners, and even small drones, but the mirage created by the energy was flawless. The ranch appeared deserted, silent, and harmless. "This is incredible," Lyra murmured, her eyes wide. "It's hiding us without hurting them." Cole nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and relief. "That's the point. We protect without fighting. We show them nothing, but keep ourselves safe." For hours, the agents searched, moving methodically across the desert, unaware of the hidden ranch. The energy responded to Lyra's calm focus, strengthening the camouflage and even creating subtle holographic illusions of rocks and sand dunes where none existed. Flowers and small animals seemed to move naturally, adding to the realism. As the sun dipped lower, the agents finally retreated, frustrated and confused. Cole and Lyra watched as the hovercrafts lifted off, leaving nothing behind but swirling dust. Lyra exhaled deeply, the energy pulsing softly, almost like it was sighing with relief. "That was close," she said, her voice trembling slightly with the adrenaline. "They would have taken it, or studied it, and I wasn't ready for that." Cole placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You did everything right. You stayed calm, used your head, and let the energy guide you. That's more than most people could do." They returned to the ranch, checking the fences and the robotic herders to make sure everything was in order. The energy had calmed, pulsing in gentle waves that bathed the ranch in soft light. Cole watched Lyra, realizing how much she had grown in just a few days. Her fear had turned into confidence, her panic into control, and the energy seemed to trust her completely. That evening, they sat outside the main house, watching the twin moons rise over the desert. Lyra extended her hand, letting the energy float above her fingers. Tiny holographic shapes formed in the air, desert animals, flowers, and even abstract patterns that seemed to move with their own thoughts. "It's learning faster than I expected," Lyra said softly. "It's not just responding, it's thinking, creating, almost like it wants to teach us something." Cole nodded. "It's teaching us patience, observation, and cleverness. We can't rush it, and we can't force it. We have to understand it and respect it." Over the next few days, Cole and Lyra focused on learning from the energy. They experimented with its abilities, discovering that it could manipulate light, water, and small amounts of wind. It could create protective barriers, move objects gently, and even influence plant growth. Each experiment was a mix of caution and excitement as they tested boundaries while making sure the ranch remained hidden from outsiders. One morning while Lyra practiced guiding the robotic herders, a new idea occurred to her. "What if we could use it to improve the ranch?" she asked. "Not just hide it, but help the plants grow faster, protect the animals, make life easier for everyone here?" Cole raised an eyebrow. "You mean use it for good?" "That's a lot of responsibility." Lyra nodded. "But we can't let fear stop us. It's part of this world now. We should learn to live with it, not just hide it." Cole thought for a moment, then smiled. "All right, let's try it, but carefully. One step at a time." They spent the day testing their ideas. The energy helped the crops grow taller and healthier, the robotic herders became more efficient, and even the livestock seemed calmer under its presence. The desert seemed less harsh, less threatening. Solaris Ranch was transforming slowly, becoming not just a home, but a sanctuary, a place where humans and alien energy could coexist in harmony. By evening, Cole and Lyra were exhausted but thrilled. The energy glowed warmly, pulsing like a heartbeat, as if it were proud of their progress. They sat on the porch of the main house, watching the moons rise and the stars shimmer across the desert sky. "It's more than just a tool," Cole said quietly. "It's a friend. A teacher. And it's changing us too." Lyra smiled, feeling a deep connection to the energy and to Cole. "I think it chose me, but maybe it also chose this ranch. Maybe it knew we could protect it, learn from it, and grow with it." Cole nodded, his gaze steady. "We'll keep it safe, and we'll keep learning. Solaris Ranch will be a place where nothing is destroyed, only discovered." The night was calm, filled with the hum of the energy, the soft rustle of robotic herders, and the gentle whisper of desert wind. The challenges of the outside world still existed. Curious strangers, ambitious corporations, and the mysteries of the planet itself, but Cole and Lyra had proven that clever thinking, calm hearts, and respect for the unknown could protect them. And somewhere deep in the canyon the energy pulsed softly, waiting, watching, and ready to guide them toward new adventures that neither of them could yet imagine. The morning sun stretched across Solaris Ranch, bathing the desert in soft gold and amber. The twin moons had vanished behind the horizon, leaving only the quiet hum of the wind and the gentle pulse of the energy in Lyra's arm. Cole stood near the fence, watching the robotic herders move the livestock with perfect precision. The ranch felt different now, alive in ways he had never noticed before. It was no longer just a place to survive. It had become a home where humans, animals, and the mysterious energy could coexist. Lyra emerged from the main house carrying a small tray of breakfast. She set it down on the porch and watched the energy swirl above her arm, tiny flashes of light reflecting in her eyes. "I think it's learning faster than we are," she said softly, her voice full of wonder. "It's like it wants to show us everything, if we're ready to see it." Cole nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. "And we will. Slowly, carefully. That's what we've learned. The harder we try to control it, the less it listens. The calmer we are, the more it teaches." For the next few days, Cole and Lyra worked together to improve the ranch. They guided the energy to help the crops grow taller and healthier. Small desert flowers bloomed in colors that seemed impossible, their petals shimmering as if made from light itself. The robotic herders moved more efficiently than ever, gently guiding the livestock while keeping the energy's protective aura around them. Even the desert animals seemed calmer, approaching cautiously and then lingering near the fields, drawn by the strange but harmless energy. One afternoon, as they worked near the canyon, a gentle pulse of light spread from Lyra's arm, forming a dome over the ranch. Inside, the air felt cooler, fresher, as if the energy had brought life to the desert itself. Cole looked around, amazed. "It's like a bubble of safety," he said. "Nothing outside can harm what's inside. It's not just protection. It's teaching us harmony. Look at the plants, the animals. Even the robotic herders respond differently when we guide them calmly. Everything is connected." Cole smiled, a rare softness in his usually serious expression. "Then we'll keep learning, together." As the days passed, the energy continued to reveal new abilities. It could create illusions that made the ranch appear larger than it was, showing distant desert landscapes or shimmering lakes where none existed. It could shape tiny wind currents, moving leaves and flowers in delicate patterns. And, most surprisingly, it began to communicate in subtle ways, pulsing colors in response to their emotions, forming tiny images in the air, even humming softly when it seemed pleased. One evening, as the twin moons rose again over the desert, a familiar hum reached their ears.
Lyra froze, instinctively holding the energy closer.
Cole looked toward the horizon, recognizing the hovercrafts. It seemed another group of outsiders had come, curious about the strange lights of Solaris Ranch. "They've found us," Lyra whispered, worry flickering in her eyes. Cole shook his head calmly. "We don't need to fight. Remember what we've learned. Calm minds, clever plans, and the energy on our side." Lyra focused the energy into creating a gentle mirage, making the ranch appear empty from afar. The field seemed barren, the buildings vanished into the shimmering desert light. Robotic herders moved in patterns that distracted attention, leading the outsider's scanners away from the main house. As the hovercrafts approached, the intruders scanned the area with their devices, frowning at the strange readings. They tapped their scanners against rocks and dust, puzzled. Nothing appeared to be there. The energy pulsed gently, amplifying the mirage, creating reflections and even projecting subtle holographic images of harmless desert creatures. Lyra whispered, "It's working, they can't see us. Just stay calm. Let it guide them without touching anything. We're not hiding out of fear. We're protecting something important." The hovercrafts moved in circles, scanning, confused by the desert's illusions. After hours of searching, they finally lifted off, leaving only dust swirling in the wind. Cole and Lyra breathed deeply, feeling relief wash over them. "That was close," Lyra said, her eyes wide with awe. "But it didn't hurt anyone. We didn't have to fight." Cole placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. That's the way forward. No one needs to be hurt to protect something precious. That's the lesson this energy is teaching us. That night they sat on the porch, the energy pulsing softly between them. Tiny lights danced above Lyra's hand, forming shapes that resembled birds, flowers, and even abstract patterns that shifted like waves on water. Cole watched quietly, feeling a deep sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. "I never thought I'd see anything like this," he said. "Not in my lifetime, not on this desert planet. It's teaching us about patience, about working together, and about hope. Even in a place as harsh as this desert, life can thrive with the right care."
Cole nodded. "And it's teaching me something, too."
"About trust, about letting go of fear, about seeing the world, not just surviving in it, but learning from it." The energy pulsed brighter, as if agreeing with him, casting a soft rainbow glow across the desert. Cole realized then that Solaris Ranch had changed forever. It was no longer just a place to live. It was a sanctuary, a place of wonder and a bridge between humans and something greater than themselves. Over the next few weeks, Cole and Lyra worked together to integrate the energy into daily life at the ranch. It helped grow crops, guided livestock, and even created gentle lights for the ranch at night. They discovered that it responded to music, to laughter, and to calm, steady voices. The desert, once harsh and unwelcoming, became vibrant and full of life. One evening, as the sun set in a spectacular display of red and gold, Lyra and Cole stood on a small hill overlooking the ranch. The energy pulsed softly in Lyra's hand, forming tiny images of the canyon, the desert, and even distant planets. "It's beautiful," Cole said quietly. "Everything feels alive, full of possibility." Lyra nodded, smiling. "It's teaching us that life doesn't have to be harsh. Even here, we can create balance, harmony, peace." Cole placed a hand on her shoulder, the warmth of trust and friendship between them undeniable. "And we will. Together. Solaris Ranch will be a place where people and this energy can live safely, learn, and grow. No one will harm it, and no one will be hurt." The twin moons rose fully over the desert, casting silver light across the landscape. The robotic herders moved quietly through the fields, the livestock grazed peacefully, and the desert animals lingered near the plants that now thrived in unnatural beauty. The energy pulsed gently above Lyra's hand, reflecting the harmony and calm that had settled over Solaris Ranch. For the first time since the events in the canyon, Cole and Lyra felt completely at peace. They had faced uncertainty, fear, and potential danger, but through calm, clever thinking, and trust in each other, and in the energy, they had protected something extraordinary without causing harm. "That's the way it should be," Cole said softly. "Life, here, now, it can be peaceful and full of wonder." Lyra watched the energy pulse and glow, tiny shapes forming in response to her emotions. "It's teaching us that fear doesn't have to control us. That understanding, patience, and care can change everything." Cole smiled, looking over the ranch. "And it's teaching me that the future, even on this harsh desert planet, can be full of hope." They stood together on the hill, the energy swirling gently above them, the desert glowing in the light of the twin moons. Solaris Ranch was no longer just a home. It was a sanctuary, a place of discovery, of learning, and of peace. And somewhere deep in the canyon, the energy pulsed softly, waiting to guide them to the wonders that still lay hidden in the desert and beyond. As night settled fully, Cole and Lyra returned to the porch, watching the stars twinkle over the desert. The energy's glow was soft now, almost like a heartbeat, calm and steady. They knew challenges would come, but they were ready. Together they had learned the power of calm, courage, and trust. And together, they would protect Solaris Ranch, its mysteries, and the life it now nurtured. The story ended not with a battle, but with peace, hope, and the promise of new adventures. Solaris Ranch had become a bridge between humans and something beyond their understanding. A place where life could grow, wonder could flourish, and harmony could exist even in the harshest desert. And in that quiet desert night, under the twin moons and endless stars, Cole and Lyra knew one thing for certain. Life, wonder, and hope were stronger than fear.